U.S. President Joe Biden warned Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu Tuesday that Israel risked losing global support for its war against Hamas by, quote-unquote, indiscriminate bombing of Gaza. In his most blunt remarks since the October 7th attack on Israel by the U.S.-designated terrorist group Hamas, which provoked the current conflict, Biden told donors Netanyahu needed to change his stance on a two-state solution for the Palestinians. As heavy fighting in Gaza continues, Palestinians say 85% of the population have been internally displaced and warn of disease spreading. VOA's Linda Gradstein reports from Jerusalem.
More than 18,000 Palestinians have been killed in the fighting and almost 50,000 wounded, according to the Hamas-controlled Palestinian Health Authority in Gaza. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has repeatedly called for a ceasefire.
And an even worse situation could unfold, including epidemic diseases and increased pressure for mass displacement into Egypt.
Egypt has warned Israel and the international community that it will not accept any Palestinian refugees, leaving them to face the winter in a war zone. Linda Gradstein, VOA News, Jerusalem.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday told Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky not to give up hope in his country's fight against Russia's invasion, saying the U.S. Congress should fund additional aid.
Congress needs to pass a supplemental funding for Ukraine before they break the holiday recess, before they give Putin the greatest Christmas gift they could possibly give him.
Heading into winter, with tens of thousands of Ukrainians dead and Russian advances in the east, Zelensky is asking Washington to provide badly needed support. This is VOA News. A year ago, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky received standing ovations in the U.S. Congress, but on Tuesday, Zelensky faced a skeptical reception from key Republicans during a trip to Washington to seek more military support against Russia. Reuters correspondent Zachary Goldman reports.
Instead of addressing joint sessions of Congress, he met behind closed doors with lawmakers on Tuesday. Congress has approved no new assistance for Kyiv since a Republican majority took power last January. Republicans have been reluctant to sign off on a funding request from Democratic President Joe Biden. Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson said after meeting with Zelensky that Biden's administration must provide more detail about how the money would be used. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking down. The White House told Congress earlier this month the government will no longer have funding to provide more weapons for Ukraine after the end of the year.
Reuters correspondent Zachary Goldman. Pakistani officials say a suicide bomber detonated his explosive-laden vehicle at a police station's main gate in the country's northwest, killing at least 23 security forces and wounding 32. The blast caused a part of the building to collapse. 6 other attackers were also killed in a shootout that ensued between militants and security forces. Tuesday's attack was one of the deadliest in months. It happened in a city in a province bordering Afghanistan. A court has set aside the South African president's recognition of the Zulu king. AP correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
A South African court has overturned President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to recognize Mzulu Kazuelithini as the king of the country's 15 million-strong Zulu nation in what may spark a lengthy battle for the throne. In the judgment, Ramaphosa was criticized for not launching a probe after he became aware that there was a dispute in the royal house regarding the selection to the heir to the throne. Kazuelithini was chosen for the throne and installed as the king last year after the death of his father, but some of his siblings have challenged the process. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Negotiators awaited a new draft deal on the fate of fossil fuels as UN climate talks went into overtime in Dubai on Tuesday after nations pushing for a phase-out clashed with Saudi-led oil producers. The 13-day UN COP28 conference in the glitzy metropolis built on petrodollars has debated a historic first-ever global exit from fossil fuels, the main culprits in a planetary crisis of warming. A source close to the Emirati presidency of COP28 said a deal was close.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.